Oh boy, let's see. Welcome. You're tuned in to Controversial and Deep Biblical Breakdowns series, sponsored by the Scoring Black Man podcast. I'm your host, Zadok Israel, aka HILLTOPSTROPHIC. I have the brother YISRAYL back with another controversial and deep biblical breakdown. And y'all don't know, this series right here is an open platform for the top biblical scholars in the Hebrew Israelite community. So if you know any top scholars and they really on top of their stuff and they have a controversial and deep biblical breakdown, tell them to hit me up. We're going to let Israel decide. The brother YISRAYL will be bringing out today the fall of Mystery Babylon the Great, aka America / Armageddon. So shalom, brother YISRAYL. I hope you've been having a wonderful week, brother. Hope you've been blessed. Shalom, brother Ben Daweed out there, the good brother. So the brother we're gonna be bringing out today. I'm gonna let him do his thing. You know how I like to do. I get back, let him do his thing. The fall of Mystery Babylon the Great / Armageddon. Good brother YISRAYL.
Yes.
You have the flow.
All right. Well, today's discussion is the destruction of Babylon and the reason of its downfall. And I would like to first just enlighten everyone that before Babylon is destroyed, that there will be a movement or a revolution. And the revolution will be a collection of the patrimony tribes together to destroy the perverseness and the wickedness out of the lodges of the husbandry, as well as Babylon and the Roman Empire and its religion, which has deceived so many. And I would like to also explain and give enlightenment concerning the events that will take place during that revolution. But first, I would like to, first of all, I'll start with Jeremiah chapter 49, verses 1 through 8, 13 through 30, 34 through 37. And then I will give you a little enlightenment on that, then we'll continue. And it reads, concerning the patrimony tribes, this spake Yah, have Israel no patrimony? Have they no inheritance? Why then do their royal patrimony assemble, but his people remain in their cities? Therefore, take heed, the days come, declare Yah, that I will cause an acclamation for war to be consented by the elder of the patrimony tribes, and they shall become committed to desolate the charmer, and his builders shall be consumed in fire. Then shall YISRAYL become a magistrate over them that were his magistrates, declare Yah. How, O cunning man, for the pervert is destroyed. Lay unto charge the proclamation, you chiefs of the elder. Restrain you to jostle against one another. Strike, go to war to cast out, and deliver by all means to masons. For their sovereign shall translate to set at one again the exiles, and his priests and his princes together. Wherefore make a show you before the families, thou wasted away builder, O heathenist chief, that trusted in his money, thinking, who shall come against me? Take heed, I will bring panic upon you, declare Yah, the sovereign of the sacred courts, by reason of all those that are about you. And you shall be cast out by the means of the chief man to be judged after. And no man shall restore hereafter him that go astray. And afterward, I will assemble again the prisoners to desolate the tumultuous ones of the tribes, declare Yah. Concerning Edom, likewise declare the sovereign of the sacred courts. Is wisdom no more in Teman? Is guidance brought to naught by reason of the wise men? Has their judgment vanished? Make haste you, mark the rebellious. Be set to root out, O lodges of Dedan, for I will bring a calamity to desolate the fighting men among him at the time that I enjoin him. For I have sworn concerning myself, declare Yah, that the cut off shall become stupefied, a disgrace, good for nothing, and a curse, and all the masters thereof shall be perpetual wonders. I have bared witness and announcement from Yah, and the messenger is sent against the heathen, counseling, gather you together and go against them, and enjoin hereafter for warfare. For certainly I will make you triumph against the heathen, and held in contempt amongst the hypocrites. Also, Edom shall be a destroyer. Every assemblage that go to war against the same shall be destroyed, and shall hiss at all the corners thereof. As with the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, declare Yah, no man shall abide there. Neither shall the kindred of the patrimony lodge near it. Surely they shall come forth to make atonement by desiring earnestly to desolate the put off with the assembly of the adversary, and will suddenly make them seek greedily to do away with them. And who is the elect chief that I may appoint over them? And who is like me, who will restore me the solemn assembly? And who is that shepherd that will trust in me? Therefore, hear the counsel of Yah that he hath determined concerning Edom, and his purposes that he hath planned for the lodges of Teman. Surely the faithfulness of the shepherd shall strengthen them from thenceforth. Surely they shall make their builders unite with them. The world is put in commotion by the destruction of their wicked. By reason of the proclamation, the devastation thereof was bared witness by the western seafaring man. Take heed, they shall go forth to strike, and fly as the eagle, and carry out their will against the cut off. And on that day shall the mind of the chief man of Edom be as the mind of the husbandman in his pledges. Concerning Damascus, the princes are confounded and spread out, for they have bared witness the unrighteous destroyed. They are faint-hearted. There is anxiety because of the west. It cannot be eased. Damascus is grown weak and turned herself to flee to hide, and terrible acts are continued within her. Distress and destruction have come upon her to render sure the desperately wicked therein be afflicted. How is a city of fame, of a truth, become unoccupied, the doorkeeper of my good things? Therefore her admired men shall perish with their families, and all the valiant men that make war shall be cut off by the elder, declared the sovereign of the sacred courts. And I will pursue hotly the enlightened of the masons of Damascus, and they shall seize upon the habitations of the rebels. Concerning Kedar, and concerning the sovereigns that separate, which Nebuchadrezzar, a sovereign of Babel, shall plague. This promise Yah, arise you, translate to minister unto Kedar, and lay to pledge the chiefs of the eastward builder. Their lodges and their shepherds shall they lay to pledge outward. They shall remove from themselves their wicked, and their weapons, and their benefits, and they shall proclaim to them, the impudent shall be quickly removed on every side. Make haste, escape you far away, serve the abyss, you foolish that separate, declare Yah. For Nebuchadrezzar, a sovereign of Babel, have taken counsel concerning you, and have plotted harm against you. And against the dissembler will I pardon the squared minds out of the sprawling recesses of the astrologer. And I will disperse them against all those regions. And there shall be no community where the outcast of the dissembler shall not go. And I will lay for a foundation my judgment seat against the dissembler. And I will cast down from therein the sovereign and the wealthy, declare Yah. And it shall come to pass at this future time that I will execute moreover the prisoners that hid themselves. Now, you hear in the aforementioned oracle, which is Jeremiah chapter 49, that the elder and the princes and the nobles of Teman and Kedar, the lodges of Dan, shall come together and enjoin to make war on Babylon. Now concerning this chief sovereign of the Jews and this elder, in the book of Jeremiah 34, verses 1 through 7, it is written, the word which came to the chief, which Nebuchadnezzar, a sovereign of Babylon, and all his company, and all the sovereigns of his realm, and every tumultuous one, assembled against the teacher, and against all the raised up thereof, saying, this declare Yah, the sovereign of Israel. Go and speak before the chief sovereign of the Jews, and tell him, this promise Yah, certainly I will deliver these masters into the ministry of a sovereign of Babylon, and he shall consume the same with reason of life. And you shall not rescue because of his ministry, but shall surely be pledged, and given both the tablets and his ministry. And thy eyes shall look upon the knowledge of the sovereign of Babylon, and he shall speak with you to discipline both the chief rulers, their lodges, and the initiate. And you shall go to war against Babylon. Yet consider the word of Yah, O chief sovereign of the Jews. This promise Yah for you. You shall not die by reason of a missile of attack, but you shall die in peace and in the hurts of your forefathers, the former sovereigns who were before you. So shall they burn fragrances for you, and they shall lament you, saying, O master, for I have promised the word, declare Yah. Then the Yah-inspired man rehearsed all these words before the chief sovereign of the Jews to the teacher. And the sovereign of Babylon's band of men assembled against the teachers and against all the raised up of the Jews that had practiced secretly, against Lachish, a place in Palestine, and against Azekah, a place in Palestine. To these defense cities escaped the desolate masters of the Jews. Isaiah chapter 45, verses 1 through 7, 10 through 11, 13. This avouched Yah to his Messiah concerning Koresh, the Persian king, whose prosperous dominion have I strengthened to conquer the Gentiles against him. And I will dissolve the confidence of the sovereigns, of one mind to cast out with them the carpenters lifted up, brought low. And the impoverished shall surely be detained. I will go to war for you and make the crooked tablets right. I will tear in pieces the lifted up of the enchanters, and I will cut in sunder the chiefs to desolate the terrible acts. And I will give you the treasures of the faint and the hoarded wealth of the deceived families, that you may know that I, Yah, which call you by thy surname, am the sovereign of YISRAYL. And to restrain my husband, and for to restrain my husband's sake, and YISRAYL, mine chosen, I have even called you by thy name. I have surnamed you, for you have surely been acquainted with me. I am Yah, there exists nothing else. There is no sovereign beside me. I appointed you, for you have surely been acquainted with me, that they may know from the cutoff of the luminary and in the west, that there exists none besides me. I am Yah, and there exists nothing else. I provide wisdom and create destruction. I cause to perish and select the evildoer. I, Yah, perform all these things. Woe to him that think of his chief, who brought forth you, or of the great man, who have you pardoned to honor. This declare Yah, the Holy One of YISRAYL, and his maker. Inquire me of the oracles to come to pass concerning my worthy, and concerning the work of my ministry sendest you me. I have exalted him up according to that which is altogether just, and I will confirm all his course of life. He shall build my city, and he shall let go my prisoners, not for a price nor reward, declared the sovereign of the sacred course. This declare Yah, the property of the adversary, the merchantmen of Ethiopia and of the Sabians, great men of stature, shall come willingly concerning you, and they shall be thine. They shall come before you with joy. They shall come willingly concerning you. They shall fall prostrate before you. They shall show favor towards you reasoning. Surely Yah is with you, and there exists none else. There is no God. Surely you are the sovereign that concealed thyself, O sovereign of Israel, the Savior. Now, concerning the destruction of Babylon, Jeremiah 51. This declare Yah, take heed, I will bring forth against Babylon, and against the lodge, and against them that lodge with the carpenters of them that lift up to minister against me, a destructive blast. And I will send against Babylon strangers that shall diffuse her and shall depopulate her country. For in the time of panic, they shall come against her round about. In like manner, the desolate shall be judged with the husbandry of the Magians, and they that are cast out because of their own lawgivers. For Israel have not been discarded, nor Judah of his strength, of the sovereign of the sacred courts, though their husbands were filled with crimes against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and save every man his life. Be not cut off by her wickedness, for this is the time of Yah's vengeance. He will render to her a recompense. Babylon have become an exastrous purse concerning Yah's ministry, that profit every husbandman surely. The chiefs have banqueted for her carousals. Therefore, the chiefs are foolish. Babylon is suddenly overthrown and appointed to utter destruction. Howl for her, take pressure from her anguish, if so altogether she may be made whole. We would have restored thoroughly Babylon, but she cannot be repaired. Leave her, and let us return every person to his own country. For her punishment came from honorable men, and is brought forth at dusk from the skies. Yah has brought forth our justice. Come, let us examine in truthfulness the oracles of Yah sovereign. Translate to enlighten the patrimony. Assemble the rulers. Yah has brought forth divine inspiration for the sovereigns of Media. For his purpose is against Babylon to destroy it. For they are the avengers of Yah, the revenge for his temple. Establish hereafter an ensign because of the masons of Babylon. Make the safeguard courageous. Bind the minister to be circumspect. Make preparation to lie in wait. For Yah has both purposed and put in execution that which he declared against the lodges of Babylon. O you that reside between the great waters, the Pacific and Atlantic oceans, abundant in money, thine end is near, and the judgment to desolate thy dishonest gain. When he bring forth his proclamation, there shall be an abundance of banqueting both by the redeemed of the honorable men, both by the redeemed and the honorable men. And they brought forth the fumes that burn because of the upright of the husbandry. They counterbalance the flames with the storm and bring forth a whirlwind from their armory. The reason to desolate the supplanter is surely against them, for they have purpose to desolate all iniquity. And YISRAYL is the correction for his patrimony. The sovereign of the sacred courts is his reward. You are my favorite builder and an instrument for war. And with you I will overthrow both the Gentile and the cut off chiefs. And by reason of you will I lay waste kingdoms. And for you will I frustrate among the cut off the driver and his rider. And by reason of you will I destroy among the cut off the vehicle and his rider. For you also I will agitate greatly among the cut off the great man and woman. And by reason of you will I discomfit among the cut off the impudent and the tumultuous ones. And by reason of you will I discourage among the cut off the valiant man and the frightful. And I will also cleave asunder among the cut off the pastor and his flock. And for you will I divide among the cut off the husband and his team of friends. And for you will I punish among the cut off the princes and the masters. And I will recompense to Babylon and against all the lodges of the astrologer, all their wickedness that they have created from truthfulness, according to your knowledge, declare Yah. Certainly, I am against you, O corrupt builder, declare Yah, which ruined all the husbandmen. I will send forth my slayer against you and remove you altogether out of the strongholds, and will render you a burnt offering surely. And they shall not help of you a mason from this place, nor the cut off from the burning. But you shall altogether burn because of the east, declare Yah. Establish you hereafter an ensign within the husbandry. Sound an alarm to strike against the Gentiles. Prepare the tribes against her. Bring together against her the realms of Armenia, Mene, and Armenian province, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a military governor over her. Counsel the horsemen to go forth as cruel ravagers. Prepare against her the foreign nations, equally with the sovereigns of Media, the military governors thereof, and all the stewards thereof, and all the husbandmen of his dominion. And the earth shall be afraid and grieved, For every purpose of Yah shall be recompensed against Babylon, to render sure the country of Babylon a ruin without an inhabitant. The valiant men of Babylon have left off from the battle. They have escaped to the strongholds. Their wealth shall be destroyed utterly. They shall surely be desperate. They have set on fire their residences. Their chiefs are divided. Every guard shall run in terror altogether, and every commander in terror altogether, to tell a sovereign of Babylon that his city is destroyed in every direction. And the places where the traffic paths are closed up, and the stockades they have burned with fire. And the footmen that fight hostile encounters are terrified. For this declared the sovereign of the sacred courts, the sovereign of Israel. The nation of Babylon is rendered sure a void place. It is time to break her in a short space, and the calamity that they reap shall come to pass. Nebuchadrezzar, a sovereign of Babylon, has accused me. He hath constrained me. He hath slandered me before the wicked. He has coveted my reward surely to fascinate. He has set his heart against my tablets. He has despised me exceedingly. The injustice executed upon me, and my kindred by blood, be upon Babylon, shall the lodge of the overseer think. And my truthfulness against the lodges of the astrologer shall the teachers think. Therefore, this declare Yah, consider, I will correct thy sentence and recompense vengeance because of you. And I will dry up her rivers and make her residences thirsty. And Babylon shall become ruins, a hunt for land monsters, desolate, and a hissing without a resident. They shall be violently agitated altogether by reason of the violence. They shall yell straightway to gather the valiant. Before the desolation, I will mark their festivals, and I will make them drink abundantly, that they may be cheerful and lie down to sleep a long sleep, and not stir self up, declare Yah. I will deliver them altogether unto the chief shepherds to destroy, the proud chiefs and the leaders. How is Babylon recompensed? And how is the foolish of the entire country surprised? How has Babylon become desolate by reason of the tribes? The seashore is carried over above Babylon. She is darkened with the increase of the elevation thereof. Her cities are a ruin, a desolate land, and without form, a country wherein no person resides, neither do any kindred of the patrimony pass thereby. And I will condemn the chief man of Babylon, and I will bring forth a recompense for that which they have coveted to take. And the community shall not assemble together for him. Moreover, the mason of Babylon shall be foolish. My people, depart you out the midst of her, and save every person his life from the fierce anger of Yah. Moreover, before your courage disappear, and you be afraid by means of the news that shall be reported in the country. And the report shall divide up the raised up the first year, and following that in the second year, in the next year shall come to pass the news and violence in the country, leader against subjugate. Therefore, consider the days come that I will execute a decree because of the open idolatry of Babylon, and her entire husbandry shall be searched out, and all her necromancers shall disperse in the midst of her. Then the honorable men and the husbandry and the upright that is therein shall celebrate because of Babylon, for the destroyer shall strike against her from the dark, declare Yah. As Babylon have caused the necromancer of Israel to be judged, so in Babylon shall be judged the necromancer of the entire country. You that have escaped the destroyer, vanish away. Approach not a place of rest. Keep in remembrance the chief afar off, and let the teaching come to your mind. We are put to confusion because we have discerned reproof. A shameful thing hath humiliated our honorable. For Grecian heathendom is taught in the sanctuary of Yah's builders. Wherefore, consider the days come, declare Yah, that I will execute a decree because of her open idolatry, and throughout all her husbandry the cut off shall mourn. Though Babylon should offer up the minister of the honorable men, and though she should constrain the arrogant of her chiefs, yet from me shall destroyers come against her, declare Yah. A tale of triumph returns from Babylon, and great destruction in the husbandry of the Magians, because Yah hath destroyed Babylon, and brought to pass in her the great proclamation. And her collapse surely disturb afterwards the large watercourses. The destruction to lay waste their fame is come, because the destroyer has come against her, even against Babylon, and her valiant men are prevailed against. Her stiff neck are destroyed, for Yah the sovereign of retribution shall surely make recompense. And I will make intoxicated her princes, and her cunning chiefs, and her military governors, and her captains, and her valiant soldiers, and they shall lie down to sleep a long sleep, and not stir self, declare the king, whose appellation is the sovereign of the sacred courts. This declared the sovereign of the sacred courts. The proud masons of Babylon shall be utterly destroyed, and her chief cities shall be burned with fire, and the nation shall hasten to empty, and the people from the burning, and they shall altogether grieve. An oracle which a Yah inspired man gave a chief man for light to take counsel of the chief, when he went home by reason of the chief, sovereign of the Jews in Babylon, because of a squared elder of his realm. And this chief was a wealthy prince. So the chief described according to an oracle all the destruction that should come upon Babylon, even all the things that are written against Babylon. And the chief said to a chief, when you depart from Babylon, and shall contemplate, and shall read all these oracles, then you shall think, O Yah, you have spoken against this country to destroy it hereafter, that none shall reside in it, neither person nor animal, but that it shall be set on fire by means of the overseer. And it shall come to pass, when you have made an end of reading this oracle, that you shall bind the package with it and commit it to the carpenters that bear fruit. And you shall declare, in like manner shall Babylon be ceased, and shall not rise up again from the destruction that I bring against her. And it shall be cut off. Thus far are the oracles of the chief. Now, from the aforementioned oracles, we understand that Babylon shall be destroyed, and it shall be a joint war between the patrimony tribes and all the honorable men of the tribes of the patrimony, those that are descended from Noah, and those that are descended from Abraham. Every lodge, every husbandry, every tribe in their respective offices will take part in the destruction of Babylon, as well as the Magians, the necromancers, the idolaters of Babylon, and the chiefs of Israel, and the sovereigns of Israel. And to continue concerning the destruction and the joint effort to bring an end to all the enemies of Yah and his patrimony. This oracle is concerning Palestine, and this is Jeremiah chapter 47. An oracle of Yah that came to a Yah-inspired man against Palestine. Before this man, Pharaoh, an Egyptian sovereign, subdued the impudent. This declared Yah, take heed, a wasting enemy strike from the north, and shall greatly desire to conquer the inheritance, and shall overwhelm the country, and every one that is therein, the city, and them that reside therein. Then the chief shall be troubled, and all the residences of the country shall yell, from the uproar of the clatter of a part of his violent horsemen, and the quaking of his weapons, and at the multitude of his ranks. The chief shall not care for the captives of their families, because of the feebleness to desolate the forces, because the day that come to pass to destroy even Palestine, and to cut off with the adversary and the hunter every helper which is left behind. For Yah will destroy Palestine, and escape portion of the island of Captor. A baldness hath settled in Gaza. Ascalon is cut off with the fugitives of their builder. How long will you hide thyself, O you destroyer for Yah, how long will it be before you desire to be at peace? Bring forth thyself from thy scabbard, destroy, and altogether stand upright. How can they have peace, seeing I have laid unto charge the same, to execute judgment against Ascalon and against the seashore? There have he directed they. Ezekiel chapter 25, 15 through 7. This declare Yah the sovereign, because Palestine have separated because of a grudge, and have pledged to revenge with a despiteful courage, to devote it to the ancient enemy. Therefore, this declare Yah the sovereign. Certainly, I will bring forth mine slayer against Palestine, and will abolish hereafter the covenant, and destroy the remainder of the seacoast. And I will execute vengeance against them with wrathful chastisements. And they shall acknowledge that I am Yah, when I shall recompense my vengeance against them. Okay, now, before these events commence, there will be a solemn assembly to desolate wickedness. And at this solemn assembly, all the patrimony tribes will be assembled together. And there must be a charge with an oath, that means a pledge, by all the upright and the honorable, according to Yah's law, and with the name of Yah, an oath sworn by Yah in order to bring all this to pass. And I will rehearse briefly this charge with the oath and this solemn assembly before I continue with the oracles concerning the destruction of Babylon and the chiefs of Israel. Daniel chapter 9. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, the chief, knew from the scrolls the assessment of the years, whereof the word of Yah came to a Yah-inspired man, that he would bring to pass indefinite years concerning the desolation of the teachers. So I poured out my knowledge concerning the Almighty Sovereign to make inquiry through prayer and supplications, with fastings and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto Yah my Sovereign, and made my confession, and said, O Yah, the great and reverend Sovereign, attending to the covenant and mercy to them that love him, and to them that keep his commandments. We have sinned and have committed unrighteousness, and have done evil. We have rebelled, even by departing from the precepts and from thy judgments. Neither have we listened unto the husbandmen, thy prophets, which spake in thy name to our sovereigns, our princes, and our chiefs, and to all the kindred of the husbandry. O Yah, judgment come through you, but through us confusion of knowledge, as at this time. The chiefs of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all the builders of Israel that are near and that are far off, throughout all the countries where you have driven them because of their sin that they have transgressed against you. O Yah, to us come confusion of knowledge, to our sovereigns, to our princes, and to our chiefs, because we have sinned against you. From Yah our sovereign come mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the proclamation of Yah thy sovereign, to walk in his laws, which he hath set before us by his husbandmen the prophets. And all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they may not obey thy proclamation. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, even the curse that is written in the law of Moses, the husbandman of Yah, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us, and against our chiefs that judged us, by bringing upon us a great calamity. For under the entire heaven have not been done as have been done to the teachers, as it is written in the law of Moses. All this calamity is come upon us. Yet may we not our prayer to Yah, our sovereign, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Therefore have Yah waited for the perfect calamity and brought it upon us. For Yah our sovereign is righteous in all his acts, which he put in execution, for we obeyed not his proclamation. And now, O Yah, our sovereign, that have brought thy people from out of the land of Egypt by reason of a great work, and hast made you famous as at this time. We have sinned and have done wickedly, O Yah. According to thy righteousness, I beseech you, and let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem, thy holy mountain. Because for our sins and for the iniquity of our forefathers, Jerusalem and thy people have become a reproach to all that are about us. Now therefore, O our sovereign, hear the prayer of thy husband and his supplications, and cause thy knowledge to enlighten at once the sanctified ones that are desolate by Yah's decree. O my sovereign, incline thine ear and hear. Open thine knowledge and behold our desolations, and the city which is appointed by thy command. For we do not present our supplications before you because of our righteousness, but because of thy great mercies. O Yah, hear. O Yah, forgive. O Yah, listen and execute. Defer not for thine priest's sake. And O my sovereign, for thy city and thy patrimony are appointed by thy command. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplications unto Yah, my sovereign, for the most holy place of my sovereign, and while yet speaking in prayer, even the overseer or angel, whom I had seen in the vision concerning the former thing, while lifted up to soar at once, retained me about the time of the evening oblation. And he separated me and talked with me and said, O chief, I am now come forth to give you an answer and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications, the decree came forth, and I am here to tell you, and I am come to tell you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore, understand the oracle and look well to the vision. A charge to take an oath is required to restore the kindred and to restore thy holy city, to cut off the transgressor and to make an end of sins and to make supplication for it and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to make an end of the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy saint. Now, therefore, and understand that from the going forth of the decree to restore and set up the teachers with the Messiah, the exalted one, shall be an adjured charged with an oath. So rejoice and decree to take the oath. For the temple shall be built again and the enclosure, but after the trouble end. And after the charge and the decree to take an oath shall the Messiah become committed to destroy an enemy, but not by himself. And the soldiers of the chief that shall go to war shall destroy the mother city and the chapel, that is the Vatican. And the end thereof shall be as a deluge, for unto the end of the war destruction is required. And he shall make provision that the covenant with the nobles and the husbandmen be completed. And by reason of the decree and of the charge with an oath, he shall cause a solemn feast for the molten image to cease. And because of the extremity of the abominable idols, he shall desolate him utterly, even in everlasting consumption. And the same end shall be expended upon all the desolate. Now concerning this same solemn assembly, again, in the book of Daniel, chapter 12, and at that time shall the chief rise up to minister, the great leader which make provision for the builders of thy patrimony. And there shall be a solemn assembly to desolate perverseness, such as never was since there existed the patrimony, even to that same solemn assembly. And at that solemn assembly, thy kindred shall be present, every husbandman that shall be found written in the register. And many of them that be slack among the builders of the husbandry shall awake, some to excel as long as they live, and some to dishonor and perpetual disdain. And they that are wise shall give light as the brightness of the firmament, and they that return whosoever to righteousness as a jewel that adorn and glitter. But you, O chief, delight thyself to restore the commandments and to understanding the purpose and to make provision for the elders that make supplication. The master shall travel to and fro, and understanding shall be restored. Then we judged the impudent and kept the watch and continued to desolate trouble. The desperately wicked on this side of the seashore of the sea, and the region across on that side of the seashore of the sea. And the husband said to the young man arrayed in fine linen, which was by the waters of the river. How long shall it be to the end of this marvelous work? And I heard the young man arrayed in fine linen, who was by the waters of a river. When he helped restore his kindred to power and his loss to dignity from derision, and take an oath with him in order that the congregation accept the charge that they shall be an honorable patrimony, assembly, and carpenter. And when they shall have accomplished to discharge the impudent of the holy patrimony, all these matters shall be finished. And I'm going to stop right there. As you understand, in order for the oracles to come to pass and for the families to have vengeance, not only against Babylon and against the Roman Empire and against the wicked chiefs of Israel and whoever is against the upright ministry of Yah and his law, there will be a solemn assembly where we will take an oath to get rid of all the wickedness and perverseness started in the lodges of Israel. And the sovereigns and the chief men of the East will join together and take part in that oath, and they will desolate wickedness in their quarters in the East. And then the revolution will take place. Continuing. Now I will just read, and the material that I will read, it will give you an enlightenment to the events that will happen during this time of revolution. This is Isaiah chapter 11 again. There shall come forth correction from the stock of Jesse, and an anointed one shall break forth by reason of his roots. And the divine inspiration of Yah shall remain in him, a divine intellect of wisdom and understanding, and intellect and reason and mastery, a mind that deal wisely and that reverend likewise Yah. And shall make him therefore restore instruction according to the reverence of Yah. And he shall not vindicate by reason of the favorite of his humble, neither convict because of a rumor to desolate his families. But in righteousness shall he defend the poor, and reason together with the upright for the humble of the husband. And he shall destroy magical craft by reason of his word, and by reason of the inspiration of his words shall he cut off the wicked door. Righteousness shall be the apron of his armed man, and faithfulness the apron of his drawn out. They shall not corrupt nor oppress among my pious raised up. For the husbandry shall be full of the understanding of Yah, to render sure the water courses overwhelm the west. And at that time there shall come the root of Jesse, which shall stand firm as an ensign for the tribes. Concerning him shall the foreign nations make search, and his lodge shall be honored. And it shall come to pass after that process of time, that the sovereign shall confirm his ministry again, the second time, to bring home again the reserve for his worthy, which shall altogether stand firm with the God, and with Egypt, and with Pathros, and with Ethiopia, and with Elam, and with Shinar, and because of the revolution, and because of the islands of the west. And he shall establish hereafter a banner for the foreign nations, and shall summon the forces of YISRAYL, and gather together the dispersed of the fellowship from the sprawling projects of the country. And the envious also of the fruitful shall be dismayed, and the adversary of the ministry shall be cut off. And the fruitful shall not envy the thankful, and the thankful shall not agitate the fruitful. And they shall spread according to the consent to lie waste Palestine with the west. They shall bereave them as the ancient time together. They shall lay unto charge their ministry with Edom and the chiefs of the tribes shall consent them. Moreover, the elder shall utterly impoverish the highlands that border beside the salt sea, and by reason of his encouraged region shall he lay to pledge his water course to restore the inheritance, and lay unto charge the chiefs to bring home again both the exiled guide and the shut up. And thereout shall be committed the raised up of the banished of his nations, which shall altogether stand firm with the God, like it was for YISRAYL within the year when he departed from out of the country of the adversary. Isaiah chapter 49, verses 1 through 6, verse 12, and verse 22 through 25. Listen to me. Listen, O islands, to me, and witness, you chiefs from a far country. Yah had appointed me in the womb. In the womb of my mother, he made mention of my name. He has set forth my word to render sure the decree, to cast out. With the worthy of his ministry hath he protected me, and ordained me the chosen lawgiver. From his astrologers hath he concealed me, and he declared, is it a lightly esteemed matter that you should become my husbandman, to establish hereafter correction for the restrained, and to bring home again the watchman of YISRAYL? I will also ordain you as the luminary to the foreign nations, that you may be the rescue for the upright of the nations. Consider, one sword shall come from a far country, and take heed, one sword from the secret places, and from the westward sun rising, and one sword from the husbandry of the oriental region. This declared Yah the sovereign. Consider, I will bring forth my ministry to the foreign nations, and establish hereafter my ensign among the foreign nations, and they shall accept thy chiefs because of their help, and thy worthy shall be respected because of their side pieces. And sovereign shall covet thy believing chiefs, and their female nobles thy supporting fathers. They shall bow down before you with their faces toward the ground, and lick up the prison, seeing thy feet. You shall know that I am Yah, for they shall not be ashamed that trust in me. Shall the prisoners taken away be pardoned by the impudent, or the righteous prisoners released? But this promise Yah, even the prisoners of the chief shall be pardoned hereafter, and the taken away that are formidable shall be released. For I will execute judgment against them that hold a controversy concerning you, and I will free thy worthy. Obadiah, chapter 1. An oracle of Yah. This declare Yah concerning Edom. We have consented a doctrine of Yah, and the messenger is sent against the heathen. Pardon you, and let us enjoin hereafter for the hostile encounter. Take heed, I have made you an opponent to the heathen. You are greatly disrespected. The pride of thine mind have deluded you, O you that lodge with the divided of the tablet, whose lodge is proudly spoken, that think in his mind, who shall cut off me from out of the husbandry? Though you lift up thyself as the eagle, and though you establish thy dwelling among the princes, with them will I recompense you altogether, promise Yah. When the thieves came against you, or the robbers because of the tablet, how are you cut off? Would they not have stolen until they took enough? If the strong came against you, would they not ordain a few to explain? How are the purposes of the fighting men searched out? How are his hidden acts examined over? All the chief men of your unlawful alliance have assembled you even against the ministry. The Levites that had altogether practiced secretly with you deceived you and have power over you. They that make friendship with thy family have brought a lawgiver against you, and there is no understanding against him. Shall I not on that day, declare Yah, even pledge the humble chiefs of Edom, and the prudent with the honorable man, to desolate the fighting man? And thy violent chiefs, O Teman, shall be afraid, in order that every one of the lifted up of the displeased may be cut off by reason of the murder cry. Because of the injustice against thy brother Yaqub, disgrace shall clothe you, and you shall desire to hasten away hereafter to turn aside truthfulness. On the day that you stood with the other masons, at the time that the strangers carried away prisoners, his virtuous, and the foreigners entered into his places and possessed portions of Jerusalem, even you were surely one of them, and you should not have appeared on the day of thy brother, at the time he became rejected. Neither shall you have rejoiced over the families of Judah on the day of their calamity. Neither should you have spoken proudly at the time of distress. You have not you should not have entered the place of my people on the day of their calamity. Moreover, you shall not have looked upon their affliction on the day of their calamity, nor laid hands upon their goods on the day of their calamity. Neither should you have waited at the crossway to cut off his that did escape. Neither should you have delivered forth those that did leave before the day of the calamity. For the day of Jah is near upon all the heathen. As you have done, it shall be put in execution against you. Thy recompense shall return upon thine own head. For as you have imbibed because of my favorite honorable man, so shall the upright persons feast continually. Moreover, they shall set up and they shall destroy the occult, and they shall be as though they had not existed. But with the honorable overseer shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the families of the restrained shall enjoy their possessions. And they of Teman shall disinherit the lifted up of Esau, and they of the plain of Palestine, and they shall inherit the fields that bear fruit, and the fields of Samaria. And Benjamin shall succeed to stand upright, and the prisoners that are the worthy of the families of YISRAYL shall inherit that of the Canaanites, even to refine. And the prisoners of the teacher, which are in the writings, shall possess the cities of the south. And the rescue shall come forth by reason of a brought forth truthfulness to vindicate the honorable men of the displeased, and the kingdom shall become Yah's. Nahum chapter 1. A prophecy for Nineveh, an oracle for the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. A sovereign is angry, and Yah avenge. Yah avenge, and is become enraged. The chief will take vengeance against his adversaries, and reserve rage for his enemies. Yah is slow to be enraged, displeased with the impudent, and will not at all acquit the evildoer. Yah have his way against the feared, and against the affrighted, and the chiefs are mocked, seeing his headship. He judged the west and made it desolate, and utterly recompensed all the cut off. Bashan mourned, and the families of the great man of Lebanon mourn. The lofty tremble before him, and the hills faint with fear, and the husbandry is desolate by reason of his knowledge. Moreover, the world and all that remain therein. Who shall help against his rage? And who shall help concerning the grieved, seeing his rage? His fury altogether spread like a blaze, and the lofty are destroyed altogether by reason of him. Yah is good, a permanent defense at the time of destruction, and he knows them that trust in him. But as an overrunning river will he make a complete end of the enemy thereof, and death shall pursue his enemies. How do you plot against Yah? He will cut off completely the liars in wait. The enemy shall not rise up the second time. For while they are entwined together as thorns, and while they are intoxicated as drunkards, they shall be consumed as straw fully dry. There is a great man come forth to desolate you, that purpose evil against the chief, a wicked God. This declare Yah. Though they altogether practice secretly, and likewise many. After this, they shall be utterly cut off altogether, when he shall cut off the impudent. Though I have afflicted you, I will grieve you no more. For now I will destroy his team by reason of you, and I will break thy restraints in sunder. Moreover, the elder have given a command concerning you, that no repeat of thy purpose is yielded. From the crown of thy chiefs will I cut off the graven image and the molten image, and I will fashion thy engravings for you, and fashion thy engravings. For you are foolish. Take heed with the honorable men, the captains of him that announce good tidings, that proclaim peace. O Judah, observe thy solemn feast, keep thy vows, For the unrighteous shall no more come against you, for they are utterly cut off. Psalms 108, verses 7 to 13. Yah hath declared concerning his holy portion, we will rejoice, and I will give consent, and mete out the inheritance of Sukkot. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine. Fruitfulness also is the strength of my chief man. Judah is my lawgiver. The chief is like my calling to lay. About Edom will I spread out my shut up. Against Palestine will I triumph. Who will pardon me from the violent place? And who will lead me into Edom? Will not you, O Yah, who have dispersed us hereafter? And will not you, O Yah, begin a deliverance without worthy? Grant us a pardon from the evildoer, for ruin is the aid of a Levite. By reason of Yah shall we perform valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. Micah chapter 5. Now gather thyself to attack, O chief of the travelers. He hath brought forth the confined against us. They shall destroy the judge of Israel according to the correction to devour. But you, family of the fruitful, but you, Bethlehem Ephratah, family of the fruitful, though you are diminished among the thousands of Judah, yet from you shall he come forth to me, that is to be a ruler over Israel, whose family descent inscribed have been of an ancient time, from antiquity. Therefore will he recompense them hereafter, until the process of time which they fear is brought forth. Then the rest of his kindred shall return with the worthy of YISRAYL, and he shall stand firm and shepherd according to the truthfulness of Yah, and the majesty of the name of Yah his sovereign. And they shall endure. For at that time shall he be great among the territories of the earth, and his chief men shall be the recompense. When the God come against our husbandry, and when he shall come against our habitations, then shall we raise against him adjured shepherds, the rich chief men. And they shall destroy the nations of the God with the missile of attack, and the husbandry of Nimrod with the put off thereof. In like manner shall he deliver us from the God, when he come against our husband, and when he come against our territories. And the others of the restrained shall be among the carpenters of the honorable chief, as a covering from the chief, to establish an accumulation throughout the court, that fail not the honorable chief, nor adhere to the impudent chiefs of the patrimony. And the posterity of the restrained shall be over the foreign nations among the carpenters of many people, like unto a great lion among creatures of the forest, like unto a merciful lion among the flocks of a shepherd, who if he come against, both tear down and pull to pieces, and no man can help. Thine ministry shall be exalted up over the adversaries, and thine enemies shall be cut off. And it shall come to pass on that day, declare Yah, that I will cut off thy drivers with the carpenters of you, and will destroy thy vehicles. And I will cut off the raised up of thy husbandry, and overthrow altogether thy covert defenders. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of the husbandry, and you shall have no more enchanters. Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing idols, and from among the carpenters of you. And you shall no more worship the things made of thine hands. And thou wilt flay hereafter the gods in the streets of you. In like manner will I destroy the masters, and I will execute vengeance in anger and rage against the heathen, such as they have surely heard. Micah chapter 6. Hear you now what Yah declare. Stand firm, execute judgment against the lofty, and let the hills understand our proclamation. Understand, you hills, Yah's controversy, and you impudent sovereigns of the husbandry. For Yah have a controversy against the chiefs, and he will execute judgment through YISRAYL. O my chiefs, what have I done to you? And wherein have I grieved you? Testify against me. For I have brought you forth out of the husbandry of Egypt, and delivered you from the families that enslaved. And I sent before you Moses, and Aaron and Miriam. O my chiefs, remember now what the waster, a sovereign of the patrimony, and how Balaam, the son of Beor, answered him by reason of the tablet concerning the families, that you may know the righteousness of Yah. How shall I come before Yah and prostrate myself before the Most High Sovereign? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with young bullocks of a year old? Will Yah be pleased with thousands of rams and with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I offer my firstborn for my sin, the prudent of my kindred by blood, for the crimes of my men? He hath showed you, O anointed one, what is good. And what do Yah require of you? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to behave self-humbly before thy sovereign. The chief's proclamation come before the raised up, and the man of wisdom shall approve thy charge. Heed you the correction, and he who have justified it. Are there yet secrets, seeing the mischief of the chiefs of the evildoer, and the emaciate chief that is abominable? Shall I consider them pure with the unrighteous displeased, and with the distress of the betrayed masons? For the rich chiefs thereof are full of violence, and the lodgers have taught untruth, and their slander is deceitful with their word. Therefore also will I render you cast as profane before beating you, and making you desolate because of thy crimes. You shall grieve, and you shall surely be gathered, and thy dismay altogether shall be in the streets of you. And you shall protest surely, but you shall not escape. And he which you defend will I give over to the cutting instrument. You shall sow, but you shall not harvest. You shall tread the olives, but you shall not consecrate you with the anointed oil, and sweet wine, but you shall not drink the wine. For the customs of Omri are observed, and all the practices of the house of Ahab you follow after their purposes, so that I leave you ruined, and the lodges thereof are hissing. Therefore you shall bear the shame of my people. Zechariah chapter 6. And I returned and brought forth my knowledge, and surely there came square teams from among the wise men. There came square teams from among the wise men, the ranks pardoned, and the raised up were the pardoned to desolate the enchanters. And the first team were red drivers, and in the second team, black drivers, and in the third team, white drivers, and in the fourth team, spotted and courageous. Digressing there, if you know anything about colors and the affiliations of gangs, this is what it's referring to. Prisoners will come out, and a lot of them will be gang members. Thus, the red drivers, which symbolizes the blood gang, and the black drivers, which symbolizes the gangster disciples, and the whites that shall come out. And the fourth team are spotted and courageous, which are mixtures of all the affiliations, whether they be Crips, Bloods, Mexican Mafia, MS-13s, GDs, Latin Kings. All of these are going to come out of prison, and they shall be squared, and they shall bring judgment. They shall execute the chiefs of Israel and the tumultuous ones of their lodges in the middle of the streets, according to the law and according to the prophets. Continuing. Then I spake and said to the angel that rehearsed to me, who are they, my master? And the angel answered and said to me, these are the squared minds of the pardon, which travel from standing before the chief of the upright husbandman. The black drivers, which are therein, travel into the northern places, and the white depart forth with them. The spotted travel forth to the westward places, and the courageous went forth and sought out the impudent traveler, that they might pursue the impudent and the pervert of the husbandry. And he said, depart you at any time, pursue the impudent and the pervert of the husbandry. So they pursued the impudent and the pervert of the husbandry. Then he announced to me and declared to me, saying, take heed, They that travel toward the northern places have settled my mind concerning the northern places. And the command of Yah came to me, saying, take of them of the prisoners, and of the aged, and of the ready, and of the kinsmen, which are come from among the confounded, and depart you the same day, and enter into a prison of a chief Levite now hidden. Then take silver and gold, and fashion diadems, and set them upon the captains for the rescued Levite now justified, a chief priest. Digressing there, this speaks of a chief priest that was once prominent in the husbandry of Israel and was sent to prison by these same wicked chiefs who brought up charges against him. And he's now hidden in the prison. This is who that refers to. Continuing, and speak to him, saying, this declare the sovereign of the sacred courts, avouching, take heed the anointed one, whose appellation is the chief. And he shall move self to minister because of his lodge. And he shall build the temple of Yah. And he shall receive the honor. And he shall sit and rule upon his throne. And he shall be the chief ruler upon his throne. And the counsel of the friendly shall be among them altogether. And the diadem shall be for a bind, and for the ready, and for the kinsman, and for the besought worthy of the chief, as a memorial for all the families of the chief. And they that are far off shall come and set up the families of Yah. And you shall acknowledge that the sovereign of the sacred courts hath sent me to you. And this shall come to pass if you will diligently obey the proclamation of Yah, thy sovereign. Briefly, I would like to get into the law and explain to you the judgments and consent to judgments that shall come to pass. Now, this is Deuteronomy chapter 20, verses 13 through 14. It is written, and when Yah thy sovereign have delivered those according to thine ministry, you shall destroy every male thereof with the pricking of the cutting instrument. But the women and the little ones and the property and all that is in the city, even all the plunder thereof, shalt you take for yourself. And you shall consume the spoil of thine enemies, which Yah thy sovereign have given you. As an example of this very judgment, again in the book of Numbers, 31, verses 1 through 9. And Yah spake unto Moses, commanding, avenge the families of Israel of the contentious. Afterward shalt you altogether sojourn with our forefathers. And Moses spake to the valiantest, commanding, arm some of yourselves for hostile encounters, and let them depart against the contentious, and avenge Yah to desolate the contentious. And of every tribe, 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shalt you send for the hostile encounters. So there were armed from among the thousands of Israel, 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for the hostile encounters. And Moses sent them to the hostile encounters, 1,000 of every tribe. And Moses sent to the hostile encounters 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to the hostile encounter, with the appointed captains, and the suretship to give stripes, both in their possession and his ministry. And they fought against the contentious, as Yah commanded Moses. And they deadly wounded all the men. And they deadly wounded the sovereigns of the contentious, beside the rest of them that were deadly wounded, namely Evi, and Rakim, and Zur, and Hur, and Rebah, 5 sovereigns of the contentious. Balaam, also the son of Beor, they deadly wounded with the murder cry. And the valiant of Israel took all the women of the contentious captives and their little ones, and seized their plunder, likewise all their herds, and all their flocks, and all their wealth. Also, it is written, Deuteronomy 21, 10 through 14. When you go forth to a hostile encounter against thine enemies, and Yah thy sovereign hath surrendered them unto thine forces, and you have taken them prisoners, and regard among the captured a beautiful woman, and have a desire for her, that you would have her for a wife. Then you shall bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head, and dress her fingernails, and she shall destroy the clothing of her captivity from her, and shall abide in thine house, and mourn her father, her kindred, and her father a full month. And after that you shall withdraw into her, and become her husband, and she shall become thy wife. And it shall be, if you find no pleasant thing about her, then you shall let her go wheresoever she will. Moreover, you shall not deal her among the laws for money. You shall not give merchandise for her, because you have vanquished her. Now those are the laws concerning any chief, respected, any husband, anyone in the husband who have violated the law of Yah. When they are found guilty and a hostile encounter is come upon them, they will be held as prisoners. Their families will be taken captive. All their wealth will be taken, and these men shall be put to death. And that is according to the law of Yah. And continuing with this same example, this is Isaiah 55, chapter 55. And it reads, "Oh, everyone that thirsts, hasten you with the water courses, and he that have no money, comprehend you, prepare, and show self pure. And furthermore, hasten, procure an inheritance, and the finest without money and without payment. How oft do you spend money from those that are not family, and your employment for that which satisfies surely? Listen carefully to me, and entreat you him, which altogether tell good tidings, and incline your mind to observe itself concerning abundance. Mark well your service, and join with me. Be obedient, and you yourself shall revive. I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the covenant bestowed likewise David. Take heed, I have appointed as a witness for the patrimony, a leader and a commander for the worthy. Consider, you shall convert a foreign nation that you instructed not, and tribes that knew you not shall commit to you, because of Yah thy sovereign, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he hath honored you. Seek you Yah while he may be found. Return to him while he is near. Let the unjust forsake his course of life, and the unrighteous keep his intentions. And let him return to Yah, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our sovereign, for he will exceedingly forgive. For my intentions are not your intentions, neither your course of life my ways, declare Yah. For as the heavens are loftier than the land, so am I raised up higher than you're raised up, and my shepherds than your shepherds. For as an early rain come down and snow, for as an early rain come down and as the snow, you know what? I don't have it, but that's good, because I'll just continue, because time is approaching fast. And I would like just to continue with a few more oracles. This is to complete Isaiah chapter 61. The divine inspiration of Yah the sovereign is in me, because Yah hath anointed me to preach good tidings to the humble. He hath returned me into the prison to deliver the broken-minded, to pronounce freedom unto the worthy captives, and the key of the prison to them that are made ready, to prepare the choice young men to be given to change for Yah, and the elder that avenge for our patrimony, to refresh the upright that study, to render to them that study both circumspection and truthfulness, to present unto them ornaments in abundance, the light that make glad in meditation, a side piece that boasts of the anger of the humble, that they might be marked pillars of justice. The vineyard of the chief, that he might be honored. And they shall set up the worthy surely, and they shall help the minister to mold the desolate. And they shall be over the displeased masters, the ruin of many families. And the worthy foreigners shall stand firm and maintain your arrangements. and the relatives of the foreigner shall be your husband and your builders, and you shall be designated the principal officers of the chief. The people shall call you the ministers of our patrimony. You shall feed with the virtuous of the Gentiles, and by reason of their favor shall you change yourselves. For your disgrace shall you greatly desire to be given to change, and for confusion they shall be joyful for their appointment. Therefore, for their own country shall they succeed twice as much. An everlasting revolution shall be committed to them. For I, Yah, love justice. I hate the oppression of the foolish taken away, and I will establish their ministry with the covenant, and I will impute an everlasting covenant to them, and their seed shall be respected among the foreign nations, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which Yah blessed, and I will greatly rejoice in Yah. My mind shall be at ease concerning my patrimony, for he has armed me with the transgressors for avenging. He has protected me with the redeemed that turn to righteousness, to render sure the relative meditate himself concerning the lie, and to render sure the spouse remove herself from her sorrows. For as the field sprout forth her product, and as a garden render sure the provisions that are sown in it to sprout forth, this Yah the sovereign will cause justice in order to come forth for all the foreign nations. Ezekiel chapter 7. Moreover, an oracle of Yah came to me declaring, also you anointed one of the patrimony. This promised Yah the sovereign concerning the husbandry of Israel. The future, the revolution shall take hold throughout the sprawling projects of the nations. Now is the revolution come against you, and I will recompense mine anger against you, and I will judge you according to thy course of life, and will return upon you all thine abominations. And mine humble shall not pity you, neither will I pity you, but I will repay thy course of life against you, and thine abominable idols shall fall in the midst of you. And you shall acknowledge that I am Yah. Therefore certify Yah the sovereign. And infamy, the first destruction, surely has arrived. The upright have met. The entreated has translated. They await for you. Take heed. That which translated it has arrived. The luminary is come against you, O you that lodge in the husbandry. The day has arrived. The day of alarm is looked upon, and surely the acclamation to bring home again likewise the pardon. Now will I straightway perform thenceforth my anger against you, and I will judge you according to thy tablets, and will repay you because of all thine abominable customs. And mine colors shall not have compassion, neither will I have pity. I will recompense you according to thy ways, and thine abominations that are committed by the lawgivers of you. And you shall understand that I am Yah that punish you. Take heed now, look upon one another. It has arrived. The luminary has delivered the translation. Correction flourished, arrogance hath fled away. The unrighteous is risen against the correction for the condemned. None of them shall escape, nor are their assemblies, nor likewise a register of theirs. Neither shall there be a lamentation for them. The time has arrived. The time draw near evening without. Let not the buyer brighten up, nor the seller skip for joy, for suffering shall be upon the assemblies thereof. For the seller shall not restore concerning that which is brokenhearted, although they are yet alive. For the oracle is against the entire assemblage thereof, which shall not convert. Neither shall the oracle help them concerning the worry for his life. They are given up to become bondsmen, moreover, to be destitute altogether suddenly. But none thought concerning a hostile encounter, for my anger is against all the assemblies thereof. The murder cry is outside, and the promise and hunger indoors. He that is against the inheritance shall perish by reason of the murder cry. And he that is in the town hunger, and pestilence shall consume him. But they that escape of them shall emit sparks, and shall follow after the lofty, likewise, like wine, But they that escape of them shall emit sparks, and they shall follow the lofty like wine bibbers of the families, all of them groaning, each one by reason of his wickedness. All creditors shall altogether be ruined, and all lives shall be put to grief to render sure they waste. They shall also gird them with sackcloth, and the dread shall overwhelm them, and winter shall come upon all the impudent, and baldness upon their heads. They shall restore their money to the lawgiver, and their gold shall be exchanged. Their money and their gold shall not be able to rescue them throughout the process of time of the anger of Yah. They shall never satisfy their appetites, neither fill their stomachs, because it was nothing offered for their wickedness. As for the appearance of his outfit, he portrayed it in arrogance, and they followed the representative figures, seeing their abominable customs, and for the disgusting promises accordingly. Therefore have I cut off those far from them, and I will render these to the works of calamity by reason of robbery, and to the wicked woman of magical craft to pervert, and they shall prostitute him. My worthy will I bring home again, also because of them, and they shall take inheritance my secret tablet. The partial, the tyrant shall translate from it, and pollute it. Put forth the charge with the note, for the husbandry is full of death sentences, and the raised up are set for violence. Wherefore will I pardon the worst of the heathen, and they shall enjoy their palaces. And I will also make the pride of the impudent to stop, and their hallowed places shall be purchased. Calamity is here, and they shall seek for friends, and there shall be none. Ruin shall fall upon the evildoer, and the report shall follow according to the doctrine. Then shall they inspect an oracle of the prophet, but the lawgiver shall make a covenant with the chief ruler, and take counsel with the east. The sovereign shall disappear, and the prince shall altogether be grieved by reason of family and ruin. And the creditors of the Levites of the husbandry shall be put in commotion, and I will execute them according to their course of life, and according to their tablets will I sentence them, and they shall know that I am Yah. After these events, when the chiefs of Israel and their lodges and all the cut off are executed and are hunted, and pieces once again settled in, this is when the collection of all the upright in the west shall return east. And again, I would like to recite this oracle, and this is Revelation chapter 7. After these things, I had a vision of 4 chiefs representing themselves to the 4 chieftains of the husbandry, adhering to the 4 minds of the husbandry, that they should not be slaughtered for the sake of the husbandry, nor against the west, nor against any country. And I saw another ambassador departing from the east, having the understanding of the restored patrimony. And he announced to the nobles the proclamation of the 4 chiefs, to whom it was purposed to afflict the Roman Empire and the West, saying, offend not the Roman Empire, neither the West, nor the carpenters, until we have marked the husbandmen of our patrimony from their impudence. And I heard the number of them which greatly desired understanding, and there were marked 144,000 of all the tribes of Israel. Verse 9, after this I beheld, and certainly a great multitude, which no man could number, of the whole patrimony, and the chiefs, and the tribes, and the languages, stood firm with the tribunal, and with the leader, to put from among the pure the transgressors, and the effects of their works, and gathered together to witness the address, declaring salvation to our patrimony, which remained in power, and unto the leader. And all the chiefs stood on every side about the tribunal, and about the elders and the 4 desert dwellers, and prostrated with the tribunal on their faces and worship Yah, saying, truly, blessing and majesty and wisdom and praise and honor and order and virtue be without patrimony forever and ever. So be it. And one of the members of the celestial council spoke, saying to me, who are they which are of one mind with a pure heart? And whence came they? And I said to him, Master, you know. And he said to me, these are they which escaped the great adversary and have purged their hearts and made them pure with the truthfulness of the leader. So, as you can see, destruction will come by any and every means necessary. And it's soon to come. And the thing is, I know a lot of people won't believe, and it's not meant for a lot to believe. And it was just like Yeshua said concerning heaven when they asked him, when will the kingdom of heaven come? And Yeshua answered, the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of the honorable men, which heaven can be translated into honorable men. He said, it will not come with observation that you may say, look here and look there. He said, but the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of the honorable men, shall come through you. That means the upright and the honorable. Expecting a new heaven or a new Jerusalem or whatever to come down from heaven and just place itself on earth, get that Grecian heathen out your head. Because while you will be waiting, you will be subject to the beast and his mark. And his mark is his ministry. And the mark of the beast and his ministry teaches someone who is equal with Yah shall come down from the clouds and set up and sit right next to Yah. And Yah said that he is our Savior, and there is no God, and there is no Savior, and there were no idols created with him. And like I always say, I'd rather believe the word of Yah than any indoctrination of man, especially when their indoctrination is not according to the law of Yah. And I would read one more oracle, and then I will leave this, and we can continue at another time. But this is Numbers chapter 24, and it reads, and when Balaam perceived that it pleased Yah to bless YISRAYL, he hastened not as at other times to the impudent enchanters, but he rendered his knowledge toward Arabah, which is Edom, which is the east. And Balaam brought forth his knowledge, and he had a vision of YISRAYL lodging in his tabernacles according to their tribes. And the inspiration of Yah came to him, and he brought forth his parable and pronounced, Balaam, the son of Beor, declared, and the chief whose knowledge have let go free has said, he have declared, who understood the oracles of Yah, which perceived the vision of the Almighty slipping into a trance, but having his eyes closed. How beautiful are thy homes, O restrained, and thy lodges, O Israel. According to the tablets are they spread forth. In like manner, the garden near the stream's shore. In like manner, the trees of lean aloes, which the chief have transplanted. And in like manner, the cedar works made firm near the water springs. He shall place firmly the conceived seed of his drawn out, and his conceived seed shall be in many watercourses. And his rule shall be higher placed than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. The sovereign delivered him from among the adversary. He have, as it were, the strength of a wild bull. He shall flay hereafter the chiefs, his enemies, and shall ruin their bodies and destroy them with his tumultuous ones. He prostrated. He established worship himself to make atonement and to render sure an honorable chief. Who shall rise up against him hereafter? Blessed is he that bless you, and cursed is he that curse you. And the waster's anger was kindled against Balaam, and he brought his fellowship all together. And Balak said to Balaam, I intended you to destroy mine enemies, and certainly you have altogether blessed them these 3 times. Therefore, now escape you to thy dwelling place. I thought to exalt you over the honorable nobles, but surely Yah have kept you back from honor. And Balaam said to the waster, spake I not also to thy messengers which you sent to me, saying, if Allah would offer me his palace full of silver and gold, I cannot go against the commandment of Yah to execute either good things or bad of my own imagination. Of my imagination. But what Yah gives me, tells me that's what I will do. And now take heed. But what Yah have said, but what Yah have commanded, I will do. And now take heed, I go before my chiefs. Bereave therefore, moreover, I will advertise you what these people shall put in execution against thy congregations in the future days. And he brought forth his parable and pronounced, Balaam, the son of Beor, have declared, and the chief whose knowledge is disclosed have said, he have declared, who understood the oracles of Yah and discerned the knowledge of the Most High, who had a vision of the revelation of the Almighty, slipping into a trance, but having his eyes open. I shall look upon him, but not now. I shall meet him, but not come near. There shall come a prince from among the restrained, and correction shall come from YISRAYL, and shall destroy the prominence of the chiefs, and destroy all the tumultuous ones of the mark. And Edom shall desire to destroy the he-goat. Also, and Edom shall desire to destroy. The he-goat also shall be destroyed before his enemies, and YISRAYL shall perform valiantly. From among the restrained shall come him that shall have dominion over a realm, and shall destroy him that remained of the raised. And when he foresaw concerning Amalek, he continued with his parable, and said, Amalek was the first of the heathens, and his latter end excuse me, y'all. And his latter end shall become ruin. And the hills of the tablet, as the proudly spoken families of the park. Now, with these things said, I just want to just let everyone keep in mind that Babylon will be destroyed. And it would not be nothing miraculous, but it will be a destruction by the enjoined forces of the chiefs of the East, our sovereigns and our elders, and all the respectable and honorable brothers who are the keepers of the noble in the ancient mystic shrines. These are the honorable, because there is no honorable over here in Babylon. There is no honor among the chiefs of Israel. And I know this personally firsthand. I have had works stolen by them. And it has been over 10 years. And I delivered my first works to their lodges over 10 years ago. As a matter of fact, between 2011 and 2015, I presented well over 1,000 pages of translated work to the lodges of Israel right here in Georgia, and never heard nothing about it. But I made sure that within these podcasts that I rehearsed some of these same translations that they stole from me. Now keep in mind, in order for a translation to be consented, it must be taken back east and consented. It must be taken back east and consented by the chief sovereign of the Jews and the elders of our patrimony. So that means they took these translations east and lied about them. They lied. And thus, by doing so, they received wages, they received benefits, and they received privileges. And guess what? When the truth comes to the light, they will owe everyone and all their wages and all the privileges and benefits that they took from them, they must repay it, and they must repay it double if it was against a chief, a shepherd, or a sovereign, or a governor, and they must add a fifth part or 20% to it. And not only that, the law also says that they shall be put to death. In Leviticus chapter, and I will just recite some more law before I close this out. This is Leviticus chapter 24, verse 15. And you shall speak unto the chiefs of Israel, saying, whosoever secluded his sovereign shall announce his trespass. Deuteronomy 24, verse 7. If a man be found stealing away any of his brethren of the kindred of Israel, and make profit of him, or ruin him, then that thief shall die, and you shall put the evildoer away from among you. Is Exodus chapter 21, verse 16 through 17. And he that steal away a chief and ruin him, or if he be found with his work, he shall surely be put to death. And he that bring into contempt his father or his chief shall surely be put to death. How much can you bring it contempt to your chief if you lie to him and you steal from him, taking advantage of his resources and his privilege and the wages that you are receiving? It has all come about because of a lie and a conspiracy against the sovereign, which is prohibited in the law and is punishable by death. Beaten, flayed alive. That is the punishment. Continuing with the law. Exodus 21, verses 14 through 15. And if a man put in execution a work against his friend to murder him by reason of treachery, you shall separate him from among mine gathered, that he may die. And he that wound his father or his chief shall surely be put to death. And concerning necromancers, Deuteronomy 24, verse 6, no kindred shall take heed the place where departed spirits are, or the vain words dispatched to lay to pledge, for he take away a person's life with the pledge. Exodus 19, verse 12, and you shall engrave the laws for the people round about, saying, take heed to yourselves that you deceive not a minister of an honorable man, or plague the ministry of him. Whoever plague the honorable man shall surely be put to death. There shall no handiwork plague him, but he shall be destroyed or shot through. Whether he be foolish or a chief, he shall not live. When the suretyship sounded to cast out, they shall descend upon both the tumultuous and the lifted up. Deuteronomy 25, 1 through 3. If there be a contention between chiefs, and they come before the sovereign, that the chiefs may judge them, then they shall justify the lawful and condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man is worthy to be beaten, that the sovereign shall charge him with treachery to be fair, and to be given stripes according to his conceit, according to his mission, with a certain number. 40 stripes he may give him, and not give more, unless he should exceed and beat him over these with more stripes. Then thy brother should seem worthless to you. And this is the reason why they are cut off from the husbandry first. Because once you are cut off from the husbandry, you are no longer a brother, and you shall be beaten. Exodus 21. I'm sorry, not Exodus 21. This is Leviticus, verse 5, 1, 4 through 5. And if a person sin through ignorance and consent to proclamation of the oath, and is a witness, whether he altogether took heed or have knowledge of it, if he do not tell it, then he shall bear his calamity. He's going to be beat too, and his family is going to be taken captive. Or if a person take an oath, speaking unadvisedly according to his words, to execute evil, or to make a profit, whatsoever it is that a person shall pronounce with an oath, and it is concealed from him, when he have knowledge of it, then he shall be guilty of one of these. And it shall be when he shall be guilty of one of these iniquities, that he shall confess that he has committed sin. Leviticus 5, verses 14 through 16. And Yah spake through Moses, commanding, if a person commit a trespass and sin through ignorance concerning the sacred books of Yah, then he shall bring forth his trespass offering to Yah, a ram without blemish, out of the flocks, equally with the estimation of pay for money, according to the commercial standard of the sanctuary for a trespass offering. And he shall make repay for the purpose mischief that he has done concerning the holy book, and shall add the fifth part thereto, and give it unto the chief ruler. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram for the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. Also, this is Numbers chapter 5, verse 5 through 7. And Yah spake through Moses, commanding, speak to the chiefs of Israel, when a man or a woman shall commit any crime that people cover up, to execute treachery against a sovereign, whether it's the eastward sovereign, any sovereign in the patrimony, any treachery, any cover-up, whether it's about stolen works, claiming translations that did belong to you, that you had considered by a sovereign, any works, and that person is guilty, then they shall confess their trespass which they have created, and he shall repay his treachery and the company thereof, and add a fifth unto it, and shall add unto it the fifth cut thereof, and present it to him to whom he trespassed. Exodus 22:9. For all manner of trespass, whether it be against the governor, against the chieftain, against the shepherd, for treachery, or for any manner of lost work, which another challenged to be his, the work of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his shepherd. And like I said, it just so happened that the judges are a part of this same conspiracy, because the judges are the chief Levites. Judges are Levites of Israel. So if Israel is corrupt, and the chiefs of Israel is corrupt, and the largest of Levi are corrupt and profane and practice sodomy as a rite of passage and bow down to idols, then that means these judges have allowed it, and they should be punished according to the law, because it doesn't matter if they are young in the husbandry or chief respected. Those who violate the law, they shall be punished according to the law. And that is what the law states. And with that, brothers, I know time is flying, and and for that, that is my message. Even though I have more, I have too much, but I'm gonna leave that right there, man. And I just thank y'all, and I praise y'all, and I pray that you brothers be circumspect and really understand what's going on, because I know that there's a lot of Israelites out there. They are not a part of any laws, any order, but the same laws that governs the lodges governs Israel. But since the people of the lodges, the overseers of the lodges, are the overseers of the congregations of Israel, and the people of Israel, and the priesthood bear the iniquity of all the patrimony, because they offer the sacrifices of Yah, that means destruction must come upon the husbandry of Israel. Why should we blaspheme? Why should we be made to suffer because of them when the knowledge have come to us? And that's why I always reiterate in all the podcasts that my messages are meant for those brothers. No matter what congregation you are, if you are in the lodge, this is meant for you, because the Bible is symbolic of truth and emblematic of divine truth. And that is the 33rd degree. And can no worshipful master, a pillar of wisdom, they cannot dispute that. And the pillar of wisdom, he stands on truth and justice. Truth is the law according to the great light that is the Holy Bible. We stand on the law at all times, and no man is above it. You can either comply with the law and live by it and honor it, or when the word reach the big people and they come a knocking and asking, then it will be too late. It is my job to warn you but to also bring good tidings, because I know that there are many brothers out there whose families are suffering in these lodges. Their children have been taken away from them and divided, and they have become bondmen and bond servants, and even worse. Imagine what types of things that these children and these families have to go through because their father have been cast out and their families have been divided, all because of treachery. And it must stop. But, however, it has to stop. But the question you must ask yourselves is, where are the honorable men? Where are the righteous men? Are there not righteous men in Israel? Are there not righteous men in the patrimony of Yah? Is there not righteous elders, sovereigns, princes, priests, or prophets, craftsmen in the husbandry of Yah? Because why is this violence? Why is the treachery? Why is the murder? The bloodthirsty killing the innocent. Why does it continue to go on and nobody has sounded alarm? And I know that you must be sworn to silence because of your oaths. That's why I will be your voice. I will do that. And I will present as much as I can because I know that right now, if they could kill me, they would. They would. And I know this. Attempts have been made on my life while I was incarcerated for the same thing. And I'm telling you, I won't even lie, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. I'm mad about it because I know I have enemies all around me right here where I live at in this same town. And I know that this podcast has come to their attention. This is the 4th podcast in as many weeks. So I know that the word is out there. And I know that they are applied. And I know that they are treacherous. And you chiefs of Yaqub, you Hebrew Israelites who stole my revelations, those chapters of Revelations that I sent your lodges through in 2014 to one of your brothers, I haven't heard anything, and I know that you used them. The oracles told me. The translations told me. And I would like to get into that on a whole nother matter, but I won't. But you have what's mine, and I want it. You chiefs of Israel that stole my translations, you have what's mine, and I want it. If I got to put my neck out there on the line, I might as well put it out there for everybody. I want what you stole from me. I sent my first work. I sent to you. I completed it in 2010, and I sent it to you in 2011. I sent another work again at the end of 2012. And I sent another one to the Hebrew Israelites in 2014 and twice more in 2015 to the lodges right here in Georgia. And you know what? I haven't heard nothing, but I know a lot of brothers and a lot of Masons in these lodges have been exalted because of my work. And this is evidence because I'm not supposed to know all of this, and I just put it right out there because I'm tired of playing. And I'm tired of seeing the suffering and nobody saying anything. And so with that said, I'm going to leave you brothers with shalom. And I hope that you enjoy this message and this warning and hope that you take heed. And I'd like to thank my brother, Zadok Yisrael, for offering me the platform, and Ben Dawid and all the other righteous brothers, the upright out there, who really pay attention and take heed to the word of God and the law of Yah instead of the indoctrination of a man who does not want to stand on the law of Yah, but always speak it out his mouth. And with that, I'm through.
Brother YISRAYL, thank you for your presentation to Israel. Today's topic was the fall of Babylon, aka America, Armageddon. Brother YISRAYL, I do want you in 2 minutes give everybody a basically overview of what you wanted to bring out to them today, what you wanted them to get out of this lesson, the PowerPoints.
Well, the PowerPoints are simple. With me, the PowerPoint is always stayed the same. Respect the law and respect that which is altogether just. Believe in the scriptures, what they say. And I know that a lot of brothers this sound foreign to them because understand all my works are translated. And I've been translating for a long time, but I know that my translations are prevalent with what is going on in the lodges today. And there is not a Mason that can refute it. And I know this. And I just want the brothers just to know that, man, be on guard. This is Babylon we are in. And you can tell by what's going on, watching the news and all the perverseness and the wickedness that's going on, that this country doesn't have too long. And all it takes is for the honorable to take a note, to charge themselves by a note, to desolate wickedness. And you will see within a short period of time, all these oracles come to pass. And that's what Yah promises. And I believe the word of Yah. I believe what the law say. And I can pretty much ascertain that it's all true because, like I told you, I never been in a lodge, and I've been incarcerated 20 years, and y'all gave me all of this while I was in prison. I haven't translated nothing since I've been out. As a matter of fact, all I have is, like I told you, I never threw away my trash. And because of the translations I had on this, which is trash, I never threw it away. And I'm glad I didn't, because I'm able to use it for this podcast. But all my works are secure. All my works are spread it out with people that I trust. And they have the word. Anything happened to me, then they no longer have to believe me when I was telling them all this concerning me. They now have the works. And hopefully they'll go ahead with those works and present them to their lodges, because I have family that's in the lodges. But like the scripture says, a prophet is not without honor, except for amongst his own family, his own people. And that is true. No one will believe someone from their family has the divine intellect. But anyone else, all they have to say is, I'm a prophet, and they'll believe him. And I'm not claiming anything. I'm just claiming that I'm bringing the message of Yah. I am his messenger, and I'm bringing his message.
And brother, real quick, what do you want Israel that, you know, they're not part of any kind of Masonic lodges, don't even, it's like you say, some of this basically is just foreign, you know, to us, even to me, about the Masonic lodges and stuff. So what do you want them to get out of this lesson today? All the people, like, you know, just Israel, not ones that know anything about the lodges. They just know that they're Israelites and just know how to keep the laws and commandments. What you want to get about this specific lesson?
Okay, with this specific lesson, Israel, that's not a part of the lodges. I just want you to know that if you were watching the other podcasts, the earlier podcasts that we did, and I was expounding on the law and how everything should be according to the law, and how the law is doctrine, and that how Yahshua was a Levite, but you believe that Yahshua is the Messiah, it's the son, it's the seed of David, which is incorrect, because what I've just presented to you are the works that shall be carried out by the seed of David. And this is in no wise sound like that which is indoctrinated to be the works of Yahshua when he returned. It's two different works. So I just ask the brothers, man, I just want to request of the brothers of Israel, regardless of what your teachers, I'm not telling you to disrespect the teachers. I'm just telling you to always let the law be your final thing into making the decision for you, because no one is above the law. No one. Not a Messiah, not a prophet, not a sovereign priest, no one. When you have questions and you are in doubt, consult the law. It's for us to study. It's there for us to study. And I suggest you get you a Hebrew Aramaic Strong's Concordance. You get you a Strong's Concordance, Hebrew Aramaic Concordance, and start looking up some of those words. And you know what I'm saying? And enlightenment will come to you. But you know, with this enlightenment, I just want you brothers, don't be deceived by teachers, because there will be those that lead you astray. And a lot of you love your teachers and you trust your teachers. And some of the teachers actually teach in ignorance, and some of them are upright and will convert. But understand what these scriptures said. The wicked will not convert. If you are upright, you will not convert. And really, all I have done was brought the law and the word according to the law. And none of it, no matter where I read from, contradicted. It's all on one accord. And like I told you, I have in my personal Bible, that is not here, over 180 chapters translated. And this is not including the partials and the pieces. So everything that I have ever translated, every verse, I have copies of them. And you know, just studying my own works in my own tablet, the word of Yah is sure. And it's no contradiction when you apply the law. So just apply the law when you're thinking, and in your thoughts. Listen to the podcast, go back and listen to them and meditate on them. Meditate on what's being said. And I assure you, those that are not in the lodges and those that are in the lodges, you will surely recognize the discontented of your lodges when these messages come to their attention.
Con. And with that, good brother Israel, nice presentation again. Once again, Israel, take in what the brother was saying. We're gonna this is a platform. and it's an open platform. I want to keep saying that. And it's very important that Israel have these topics, because when we come into truth, we come into truth under certain congregations or camps, and we have certain doctrines. I myself, I'm from what you would call the One West doctrine. I come from IUIC. I watch all the One West camps, but I also watch other people as well. I have congregated, I've been in this truth for a while, but I have noticed that we have doctrines that are off. I think everybody should. This is why open platforms like this right here is very important. So everybody could bring out their controversial deep, breakdowns and bring it out with the scriptures, and then everybody can talk about it. So that way we can't hide behind, it's like Christians, you know what I'm saying? They're just stuck in that damn, stuck in that slumber, man. And they just stubborn and hard. They got too much pride to come out of that, you know what I'm saying? And you keep breaking them out of them. So sometimes we have to it's good for us Hebrew Israelites to have a platform or platforms that we can all just talk and bring out the scriptures, and then just see where everything lie with the scriptures in the law.
And you know what else, bro? I don't think, pride is a big part of it, but in a lot of cases, I don't think it's pride. I think it's fear, because nobody want to let go of that doctrine that they don't put all their faith and their hopes in for so long. And they have seen their families, their mothers and their grandmothers, their fathers and grandfathers before them practice the same thing. And, it almost feels like a betrayal when a person changes thinking and accept another teaching from that which he was brought up on. And, that's a problem with a lot of Christians, how they don't want to come out of Christianity because they are afraid because of what has been told them and how they've been indoctrinated about hell, going to hell and all this and that. So our religions is our comfort zone. It's our shoulder to lean on when we have nothing else. But we have to understand that at the end of the day, Yah is our refuge. Yah is our hope. Yah is our savior. Yah is our deliverer. And it is his word that can deliver us. And if this word is utilized and put into effect by the right people, and then I know for a fact that you will see a lot of changes, not only in the lodges and in the congregations of Israel, but you will see a big change begin in America itself. And you will see a lot of people come together because, there has never been anyone that's really come and help the downtrodden of our people here. If you're not a part of the congregation or whatnot, they don't want nothing to do with you. They just leave you to the wolves. But that is not what, the law teaches. We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to love our neighbors, regardless. And through that love, then maybe, we can convince our neighbors that our way is right, which it is right. And, it's just the reverence of the law, man. And before everything else, man, just make the doctrine, like I said in Proverbs 4:1-2, I give you good doctrine, forsake you not my law. Let us not forsake the law, man. We always going to have questions, and we're always going to learn and be searching. But the truth is in the scriptures. And we just have to be steadfast and trust Yah. That's the whole thing. Abraham believed Yah. What did he believe? Abraham believed the oracles that he translated concerning him. And he believed Yah, and it was accredited to Abraham as righteousness. So what Abraham did, he believed the word, he believed the law, and it was accredited to him as righteousness. And as Deuteronomy 6:25, it tells you that observing the law, keeping these commandments, that is our righteousness. No indoctrination that somebody came with, the law and keeping the commandments, that's our righteousness. That's our law. And we should do everything we can to uphold it.
Yes.
And that's simple. I can't say it no simpler than that.
Well, brother, it's been good. I'm glad you decided to come on and do. I mean, I guess, a lot of the people in Israel scared to come out and bring out their controversial and deep biblical breakdown, man. But I'm glad you are coming out and you're doing your thing, man. And at least you give Israel something to think about. You're giving all the brothers that's in these lodges or whatever something to think about. And so, but Israel, you know what Most High say, fear him, keep his commandments, and we're gonna end this show. Shalom to all you brothers and sisters out there. Love you all. Good night.
All right, good night, family. Shalom.